Hey guys! Welcome to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this sweetheart scarf. The reason I named it that is because the stitch kind of makes it look like they are hearts. And it's sweet! Okay, so we're going to start off with the materials needed, which are at least 300 yards of yarn, as well as any size hook you'd like. This is going to take around 4 hours to make, so brace yourselves and let's begin. We're going to start off with our slip knot, as always, and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our yarn around our pointer and middle finger and pull through to create a loop. So here I have my original loop and I'm pulling through to make my other loop, and then I'm going to pull to secure and kind of tighten it. Now, an important part of this video is that the amount you chain is how long you want your scarf to be. You will have to chain more if your hook size is smaller than mine and less if it is larger. But ultimately, the number of chains that you have does not affect the stitch. So you just want to follow everything that I do, even if you have more or less chains. Next, we're just going to chain 121, or at least I am. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook, wrap my yarn over, and pull through. This counts as my first chain. There's my second, and after this one is going to be my third. And I'm going to do this 121 times. Mind you, the loop on the hook does not count as a chain. Next, we're going to move on to row 1, where I am going to insert my hook into the second chain from the hook and single crochet in that stitch and every stitch across. So what does this mean? I'm going to skip 2 chains, so 1 and 2, and I'm just gonna, I don't even know what I'm showing you here, to be perfectly honest. I'm gonna insert my hook into that chain, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and I'm gonna pull through both of those loops. And that counts as my first single crochet. I'm gonna move on, do the same exact thing, insert my hook into that chain. I have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm gonna pull my yarn over through both of those loops. I'm going to do this until the end of the row. So I'm on my second to last single crochet. And don't forget that last chain. It's so easy to miss that one, but you gotta remember it's there. Afterwards, I'm going to chain 1, and we're actually going to chain 1 at the end of each row, but I will remind you later. And this completes our first row, which are just single crochet. Those are the stitches, and we're going to move on to row 2, where I'm going to single crochet in every center bar across for a total of 120 single crochets. So what does this mean? When I say center bar, it's the bar that is below the normal stitch. So this is what I'm trying to show you right now. It's not what you would normally crochet into. Instead, it's below the stitch. So those are the normal stitches that we would crochet into. But since we're rebels, we're not going to do that because we're too cool for that. And instead, we're going to crochet in center bar. So pay close attention here, because when you first start out, it's actually kind of hard. So I'm going to insert into that center bar, and it's kind of tight, but as you progress through the row, you're going to find that it's going to get looser. And I'm pretty much just going through with a regular single crochet. I have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to pull through. Now you just want to locate your next center bar which is right there. Then you're going to insert your hook like you would any other single crochet, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So pay very close attention as you're going through your row because it's so easy to miss these center bars and you might crochet into even the top stitch, but you just want to take your time and make sure that you're doing everything correctly. So just to show you so far, this is what the back of my row is looking like. It's going to start making those V's, and the V's are actually going to alternate sides, and you're going to find that it's actually going to create a ribbed. So again, I'm just inserting through that second. I lied. Why am I saying second? Center bar. And I'm just going to continue on with a regular single crochet. As you can see, I'm nearing the end of my row, and be sure not to miss that last center bar. It was kind of hidden there. And yarn over and pull through. Now, instead of just leaving and continuing on to our next row, what we're going to do is we're going to find that last space there and we're going to single crochet into it just so our ends are a bit more even. Lastly, I'm going to chain 1 as we do at the end of each row, and this completes my second row. We're going to move on to row 3, where I'm going to do the exact same thing as row 2. Essentially single crocheting into every center bar across until I have a total of 120 single crochets. Just a reminder, you may have to do more than 120. As I mentioned before, the amount of stitches that you do depends on how many chains you originally had, but it's essentially the same technique. So as long as you're following what I'm doing, you shouldn't have a problem and you should still have the same outcome. I do recommend, however, using a bulkier yarn. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm actually using 3 yarn balls. And on the reverse side, you can see that my ribbed knit, or whatever you want to call it, have started to form, and it looks very nice and very sweet. And I'm just going to continue on. So I'm finding that last center bar right there. It's so easy to miss, guys. Like, I swear before this I missed it like yeah. And then I'm going to find that last space. If you're having an issue finding that last space, you can honestly just single crochet into like a part nearby it. So long as you have a single crochet at the end of your row, it honestly, it matters, but it really doesn't. And again, I'm going to chain 1. And here's where I'm actually going to leave you guys. I'm going to do rows 4 to 8. You can do any more rows if you want. And a couple things to actually remember. First, you're going to single crochet in every center bar across. The second is that you're going to single crochet in the last space. You want to chain 1 at the end of each row. And lastly, you want to take your time. Please take your time. It definitely shows, and no one likes to have mistakes. So here I'm just continuing on as I did in rows 2 and 3 and doing the exact same thing. You can do any amount of rows that you want. You could do 5 rows if you want. It depends on how wide you want your scarf to be. Remember that if you have a smaller hook, you're most likely going to have more rows as opposed to having a larger hook where you're going to have less rows. So I'm actually going to fast forward to the end of row 4 where I am doing 1 chain. And I'm going to turn my work and continue on to rows 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. But before I show you guys, I just want to show how it's starting to make that ribbed look, and it's going to become really dense, which is awesome because a lot of times in crochet you don't get that dense look that you're really looking for, especially in a scarf. I'm going to move on to my 8th row, which is my last row. Again, you could do as many rows as you want. I've been doing the same thing over and over again, inserting my hook into that center bar and single crocheting. And again, I'm going to locate my last little space right there, but instead of single crocheting into it, I'm actually going to do a slip stitch because we're just fancy like that. So I'm going to pull through. I have 2 loops, and I'm going to pull that first loop through the second loop. And then once again, I'm going to do another slip stitch just to secure. And afterwards, I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut about 7 inches or so away from where my hook was. Now, if you don't want to do tassels, cut it a little bit shorter, and you can weave that string into the scarf and kind of hide it. But I'm going to do tassels. So I'm just going to tighten it, which everyone should do. And this is what my scarf looks like without tassels. Onto the tassels. How fun. I'm going to cut about 15 inches worth of string. That made no sense. I'm going to cut string that is 15 inches long, and I'm going to fold it in half. I used about 10 pieces of string or so. Yeah. And I'm going to find a little hole at like the bottom of my scarf. It doesn't really matter where you put the tassels in. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. And I'm going to create a loop, and then I'm going to pull through my string. Now, I made the mistake of not pulling through all of my string here, but it's really important to pull through all of your string because then it's going to look a little crazy if you don't. There you see I didn't pull through all my string, so I had to go back and do it, and it was such a mission, except it really wasn't. And you're going to do this to the ends of your scarf, and you have completed your scarf. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to look so beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and, comment any questions that you have because I'm here to help. Thanks again, guys.